Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to The Owl House, Season 2, Episode 9. And I've just got to say right off the bat, I am really fucking annoyed. Because I have now had to block on Twitter any mentions of the names Amity, Luz, basically anything having to do with the Owl House at this point. I have to block not just spoiler tags, but everything. Because people do not fucking understand how to spoiler tag their shit. And mind you, I didn't get spoiled to a lot for this episode. I know Amity's in it. And I know that Hunter is in it. But that's about it. But the fact that I know that pisses me off. I'm getting sick of this. I shouldn't need to do this. I shouldn't need to block basically any word that has anything to do with the Owl House on Twitter. It's not that fucking hard to spoiler tag your shit. It's extremely easy, actually. And once it's like over 24 hours afterwards, that's one thing. But, I mean, basically, at least wait till Sunday. That's the best way to do it. At least wait till Sunday, then you can post all you want. Because by that point, it's like, I feel like a good amount of time has passed and people can just start posting about it as they want without having to worry about spoils as much. At that point, anyone who really wants to avoid the spoilers will probably have seen it if they could. And if not, they'll probably be avoiding a lot of that stuff anyways. But I go on Twitter for a lot of reasons very consistently. Same with other social media. So it's like I can't just actively avoid this unless I want to basically actively avoid everything else I use Twitter for, and I don't want to do that. It's just, and this has been a problem. I've talked about this before. This has been a problem in a lot of fandoms where people just don't think. It's like they don't care about spoilers. They read synopsises and stuff ahead of time, and it's like, so to them it's not a big deal. But they refuse to think about how other people view that. They refuse to think about how other people just view these kinds of spoilers and shit, and how it affects them and their reactions or whatever else, even if they just watch it on their own time. There are a lot of people who don't want to be spoiled on everything or anything before they watch the episodes. And that needs to be, honestly, just normalized in terms of how we treat this stuff and how we talk about this stuff on social media. Like, you can talk about, like, oh, I love this episode, it was a great episode, or something like that. Because that doesn't spoil anything. But don't give, like, detailed information. Don't share screenshots, etc., etc. It's exceptionally rude. It's just not the right... It's just wrong to do. When so many people are so invested in this show and desire to be not spoiled on it. It just, I'm sorry I'm ranting about this for so long, but it pisses me off. And it's because I love this show so much that it does so. it pissed me off so much because I love this show so much, because it's become so important. And I really just want people to understand that this is exceptionally just rude, annoying, shitty, whatever term you want to use to describe how just mm, it is. It's I can't stand it. And again, this has happened in other fandoms too. This definitely happened with the Brony fandom when MLP episodes were actively coming out, and so on and so forth. It's happened in plenty of stuff. Steven Universe fandom for sure, and so on and so forth. So it's not a new kind of thing, but it's just super relevant with this series at the moment. I'm just annoyed. I'm just annoyed by this, but we are going to move on. We are going to get onto this episode. Like I said, I know about these two characters being in it. That's about it. Luckily, I was able to avoid everything else. The instant I saw anything that like did not look like something I had seen before, I basically just got rid of it. Basically, and at that point, I just started like, I'm just gonna block everything from my feed. And it really sucks because I would love to see other stuff show up in my feed, but now I basically have to actively search for stuff every week because people don't know how to just have any sense of common decency here. So, yeah. But I luckily don't know anything else about this. Except the name. I do know the name of the episode because that one was spoiled for me as well in a image. Yeah, it was spoiled in an image, not even in the text attached to the image. That's how bad people are spoiling on it. So I do know the title, but luckily it doesn't seem to give too much away, at least from first reading and all. It's not something that like I can guess what the episode's going to be about when I read it. So luckily the title itself is not too spoilery in content. At least not out of context. um, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what we got in store for another episode because, as I've been saying, every episode this season has been fantastic so far. They've all just been really hitting the mark and really just nonstop big moments and exciting shit going down like every episode. It's not holding back at all, and I love that. So I'm assuming the same is going to happen with this episode, but I don't know for sure because I don't know exactly what to expect. Um, but I'm still excited. Season two has been so drastically better than season one, just with already what we've gotten. And not saying season one was bad, but season two has been such a drastically like bigger and better upgrade, nonetheless. Um, and I'm just really hoping it stays that way. I'm really hoping that by the end of the season that it's just as exciting and hype as it is now. We'll see. Um, but in the meantime, tell me in the comments below what are your thoughts on a lot of this spoiler shit on social media, especially on Twitter. Um, I'm very interested to hear your guys' thoughts on all of that and your guys' thoughts on just the general idea of whether or not to view spoilers, even with such things as synopsises for episodes and episode titles prior to the release. I want to hear your thoughts on all of that, kind of get a discussion going. But in the meantime, we're just going to get this episode started and hope for the best. Also, sorry for the lighting in here. It's actually really early still. It's like just after 10 a.m., but it's overcast out there, a lot of cloud cover. So it's like the lighting in here is shitty because of that. um, and yeah, just it's been keeping up well for me to record these on the day they come out on Saturdays. Uh, and now I get them up even a lot earlier because I get them up on Mondays now. But still, I'm glad that everything's been working out for that to continue to get them recorded as early as possible. Even so, I still manage to be on Twitter after the episode is released and before I can get to this usually. So I still end up seeing or having a risk of seeing spoilers. But like I said, let's get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. This episode was not as generally exciting as previous ones. I don't know what it is exactly about it that made it so, but I don't know. I wasn't as hyped about it. I didn't get as exceptionally like excited about a lot of it. It's just, and the thing is, it was another big episode. It was another important, noteworthy episode. Yet for some reason, it just didn't click with me as much as others have. Not to say it's bad or anything, and not even to say it's my least favorite of the season. It just didn't. It didn't hold that same level of overall excitement, which is weird too, because it was so focused on Amity, and you know she's my favorite character and everything in the series. And there's a lot to love about it. Getting to see Belos's face, getting more information regarding the diary and all, the entire mission to get the Titan's blood and everything from with Amity and all of them. But I don't know, just I can't explain it. Something about it just it wasn't as hype for me. Even the thing about Luz and Amity just casually and so excitedly calling each other girlfriends now. It's just like, I love that. I adore that. So I can't explain. I don't know why. Maybe, I don't know. And it's weird to not know because usually with these episodes, like even if it's not as good as others, it's like I'm still excited I'm still more excited when I watch it and all. Just that initial level of hype. So I don't know what it was about this one. Because again, it's not that I thought it was bad or even weaker compared to a lot of these episodes. So I don't know. But anyways, let's talk about this. So Luz is sick with the Boiling Isles version of the cold, which, because the Boiling Isles is basically just a parallel universe in a way, just calls it the common mold, which is dumb, but Luz is sick. That's the point. With an illness that is common for the Boiling Isles, but they don't know how it's going to affect a human. So the Echo Mouse ends up giving a little hint through the diary regarding Titan's blood and Eclipse Lake. And so Amity, Ida, and King decide that while Luz is sick, they're going to go get the Titan's blood for her and everything, while Willow and Gus stay behind to help watch over Luz. And I wouldn't really call the stuff with Luz at the house and Gus and Willow and all, I wouldn't really call that a full-on B plot because it's like so minor and so just few and far between that it doesn't even feel like it's a legitimate part of the like a legitimate full on plot to the episode. It feels more like just a couple little things here and there just to show what these other characters are doing. Um, Everything is pretty much focused on Amity, Ida, and King. So as they go out, Ida's trying to turn into her harpy form at will, which I thought she had known how to do. I thought that was kind of a point of that, but I guess not. I don't even know how I would have misread that though, because it seemed very obvious that she knew how to do it at will. So I don't know. But apparently she can't, so she has to try and figure out how to do it. And there's a Dragon Ball Z reference because, of course, there is. King he seems to have a good grasp of his powers. At this point, it only comes up really like once or twice in this episode, so it's not a huge deal. And Amity, her big thing is like she's really like flaunting the fact that her and Luce are girlfriends now. Like she constantly feels the need to point it out to everyone, and it's adorable. So they're going through this, and they end up coming across the Golden Guard, capturing him and kind of keeping him as a hostage. But then also notice that Kikimora is there, searching as well. Kikimora wants to find the Titan blood first so she can get back on Belos's good side, and to show up Hunter, who she just can't stand. Hunter is trying to find it because he is afraid of being replaced, because Belos kind of briefly mentioned that. So I'm thinking that could possibly happen, and that could be how Hunter eventually does come to the good side. But we'll see. So they go throughout this, and they get into some fights with Kikimora and them, and eventually it all kind of comes to a head when Amity reaches Eclipse Lake, finding Hunter there, and she talks to him, almost gets through to him, but then he sees she has the key that she was holding onto for Luz, the portal key, which apparently contains Titan's blood in it. Which, considering the Titan's blood is integral to human world portals, that makes sense. So Hunter sees this, and still so afraid of getting replaced and everything, attacks her and tries to grab the key from her. And it ends up going to a stalemate where Hunter even admits, it's like, we could keep going like this, but I'm tired, you're powerful, we know you'd win. And basically he's like, but I know where you guys are. And if you do get away without giving me the portal key, I can't necessarily guarantee Luz's safety. I mean, obviously not exactly what he says, but the basic gist of it. And yeah, it's like, I want to like Hunter more. But then he goes and says stuff like that. And it's like, I get it. The episode made very clear that he's definitely a victim of Belos's treatment of people and everything, and that he definitely could use better influences. But at the same time, just blackmailing Amity like that into giving up the key and everything by threatening her girlfriend, who at that point he knew was her girlfriend and everything. It's just it's fucked up, and it's like seeing him do that. It's like it makes me lose a lot of the goodwill I want to feel for him. Luckily, Amity thought ahead and broke the key ahead of time, which got a good amount of the Titan's blood on her hand. So they managed to retain some of that. But Hunter still has the key with the remaining Titan's blood inside. So both sides kind of succeeded here. The only side that didn't is Kikimura's, and I mean, well, fuck her, so who cares? um, but yeah, this episode did a lot of great stuff and had a lot of great moments. Amity was absolutely fantastic in this episode. I love her palisman, her cat palisman. What did she call it? It wasn't Shadow, but it was something like that, I believe. Either way, um, yeah, I really like that. She was just really fun in it. I liked Ida trying to figure things out and everything. Even though, again, I thought she had already done that when she first unlocked the heartbeat form, but I guess not, which is just kind of confusing. um, Willow and Gus appeared again, is going to make a lot of people at least partially happy that they're at least there. Because there's been some people I've seen on Twitter who have been saying like, don't you? Who have been saying like the gist of, remember when Gus and Willow were actual characters, and it's like I've been seeing a lot of those posts where people are just basically bitching about Gus and Willow not having a lot of relevance so far this season, and it's like you do know that they're supporting characters, right? They always have been. They're not meant to be main characters. They're not super important to the story. And not that they're not important at all, and not that they're not good characters and everything. We definitely want to see more of them, but they're not the main characters of this series. This series focuses and revolves around Luz, Ida, King, Amity. Those are the Bellos, and even now the Golden Guard, Hunter. Those are the characters that are the main characters of this series right now. Gus and Willow have always been just supporting casts, just there to basically act as one, Luz's first two friends outside of the Owl House family, and two, to just kind of get Luz into a lot of the connections and everything that would eventually lead her into big character driven focused stuff, such as her connection with Amity and just getting involved in all of this with Bellos and magic and the Boiling Isles in the first place. And of course they're more than that, and we love their characters. But yeah, you can't deny that they're just supporting cast. So them not being as relevant this season isn't really that big of a deal. But either way, I did really like this episode, so it's weird that I just didn't have that amount of hype this time. But tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of The Owl House Season 2, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.